Welcome to the Third Touch Soccer Podcast. My name is Sam Leamy. I'm here with Connor Walsh. Michael McLaughlin's in the city. How you doing, Connor?
I'm good, buddy. Feels good to be back, doesn't it?
It really does, and I apologize firstly and foremost the absence of the Third Touch Soccer Podcast. We've had a lot going on in the last few weeks. I was away on vacation in Portugal. We had some technical difficulties when I was away. Came back, a serious car accident happened. Thankfully, I'm okay, I'm alive, but there was a lot going on, taking care of that, and I feel really bad, and it was just been really hard to get together in the last couple of weeks. But we're back,
We're back.
We'll call this the comeback episode. We're just going to give you a crash course on what's been going on in the world of footy in the last couple of weeks. But yeah, I mean, 3 weeks away seems like a lifetime. Seems like a while since we've been away from the studio. And a lot has happened, really, in the last 3 weeks.
It has. Lots happened and a lot has been the same. Arsenal still suck. Man U still suck.
The game, I know you work Sundays now at the bar, and it was pretty irrelevant. And these games kind of normally generate a big crowd. But, just seeing that Monreal exchange with the other players on the Man United side is nothing like it used to be in the Roy Keane, Patrick Vieira, Gary Neville era. Wayne Rooney was stone faced and totally concentrated on the game. There was a lot in the press about it, but has this game become so irrelevant in the last couple of years? Does it obviously doesn't mean as much as it used to?
Yeah, I think it's two former big clubs, honestly. They're still big clubs, but it's two clubs that aren't at the same level they used to be, and they've fallen off dramatically over the last few years. And I think, Jose Mourinho has been constantly criticized for his approach in big games, but this in particular they were not even up for it. Man U could care less about this result. And what do you think about them focusing more on the Europa League, Europe's biggest competition?
Yeah, Mourinho's definitely come out and said the Europa League is the priority now to get into the Champions League. But are they viewing this as winning the trophy or winning a place in the Champions League? That was kind of the ongoing discussion this week. But we're going to touch base on that more so on Saturday. We're going to release an extended episode on Saturday, but
with Mike, we'll be back in full.
Well, Mike will be back in full force, but we're back. It feels great to be back, and again, we apologize for the delay, guys. I know we've had a few people asking about future episodes, the future of the Third Touch podcast, but it's strong, it's well. But I went to Portugal. I went to see the lads. I went to see Paul Wheatley on his stag do. A former guest on the show, and I got a bit of footy culture over there.
Did you? How's Paul, by the way?
Paul's good. He gave me some shit. He was just like, why not getting a call on for the Third Touch podcast? I thought I was a genuine guest the last time. I thought I did a really good job, and I tried to get some other people into it, but it was basically a piss up round of pool with 21 of some of your best friends that you grew up with. So to record a podcast and have some, kind of Wi-Fi technical difficulties, it just didn't work when I was there. And coming back and getting into that car accident really kind of, change a little bit of outlook on the way I look at things. And I, I care about the future of the Third Touch, obviously.
Well, I'm glad it took a car crash for you to get me focused, Sam.
Definitely focused now. But I did catch a 4th division Portuguese game when I was out there, Tier 4, and I see you wearing the Immortal DC, the color red scarf around your neck.
Big Portuguese fourth division guy.
Would you have gone to the game? Would you?
100%. That's the culture.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, we went there. It was right next to the resort we were at, and it was you could bring your own alcohol in, and it was great. It was 10 or 12 hungover English twats coming into the stadium, bringing their own wine in, and you're allowed to do that. And we jumped the fence at halftime. Me and my friend Joe just started kicking the footy around with some substitutes and other fans. It was great, and the standard wasn't that bad. I would say maybe in between D1 college and MLS, so maybe like a USL, like a lower USL, but Immortal
Nice.
DC came out on top, 3-0 winners, rampant.
How was the fan base? How was the supporter culture in the fourth division?
Yeah, they didn't care.
No one
They
cares.
didn't really give a shit that much. But it was good to it was great. I mean, a few of my friends had to go home. The boys from Yuki had to go home that day, but it was sunny. It was tranquil. It was by the ocean. But it was a good trip, and it was good to see the lads. Paul Wheatley's wedding is in a few weeks. I'll be heading over to England for a few days, but yeah, that's kind of what's been going on in our lives. I know most of you don't give a fuck, but that's what's been going on. But back to footy. Champions League this week. We did see Real Madrid overcome an Atletico mini comeback, would you say, by Atletico on Wednesday?
It was until the
Isco.
Isco goal after Benzema slum football 1v3.
Isco. I mean, he's been such a great fill-in for Real Madrid, and he's like come up trumps when Ronaldo and Bale have.
Who, Benzema?
No, Isco.
Yeah.
But I know you want to touch base on Simeone for a second.
Yeah, I guess I'm just like, I want to like talk to you, get your perspective. Has the time come for Simeone to leave Atletico? Like, what else is there for him to accomplish? He's won the league once. He's been in 2 Champions League finals. He's been in at least 4 semifinals now. But he's not going to win the Champions League with Atletico. I think the time for him to move on has come. And
I mean, what was his? He has to go to a bigger club. How many clubs in Europe do you think are bigger than?
well, I think he might go to Inter. And Inter just fired their manager Pioli last week, and they're kind of building something over there in Italy. So maybe he goes there, his former club.
And he did play for Inter Milan. In the late '90s, early 2000s. That would be a good move. You think? I mean, right now, I wouldn't say Inter, a bigger. I mean, maybe a. Yeah, I would say they're
Inter's
probably,
a bigger club.
yeah, they're probably a bigger club.
They've won the Champions League.
Yeah,
in
and
the past.
who was the guy who scored those 2 goals in the final?
What's his face?
Begins with M. Something anyway. They won 2-0.
Dude's a legend.
Not Milito.
Yeah, Molito.
Oh,
Diego Molito.
Yeah, he's sick.
Yeah.
But with the investment from Asia coming in the 2 Milan clubs, that'd be a good investment. We did see that. Actually, I watched a little bit of Italian football over yours recently. You saw Zecco against
Milan. Yeah, Checo ripped him to shreds.
Yeah, absolutely ripped him to shreds. But it's going to be exciting to see Serie A and their evolving state this time. But going back to the Arsenal-Manchester United game the other day, like we said, pretty irrelevant, pretty low-key, somewhat fighting for that 4th place. I said, 6 weeks ago, when Arsenal were kind of in that rocky period, Arsene Wenger's going to win that semi-final, may still sneak into that 4th place spot. It all depends on Liverpool's form in the coming weeks.
Yeah, just to be clear, Liverpool is currently 3rd, but I think they're more of their position in the top 4 is more in jeopardy than I would say Man City's, even though Man City's in 4th. I just don't see Man City falling out of the top 4. And Liverpool is just so many question marks with that current squad.
Well, Aguero's on fire. Jesus is back and looking energetic up front. Company's just, him in the side. They're just a totally different team with him in the side. But yeah, they look like they're going to solidify their position out of the FA Cup now. But it looks like Man City will finish in that. Huh?
FA Cup?
No, they're out of the FA Cup.
Who is?
Man City.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Arsenal, your small club beat them.
I know that. Sorry, I wasn't.
So they can just solely focus on the remaining Premier League games. But titles done and dusted. Everyone got semi-boners when Tottenham got within 4 points, but we always knew Chelsea were going to run out winners in the end.
I think it was inevitable, but it looked like for a second, maybe it was the title race was back on, but Chelsea's class.
Yeah, you're looking deep into my eyes right now.
This is we never sit across from each other, and me and Sam are sitting across from each other, and it's a really weird vibe. I don't know.
Well, anyway, we'll have with somewhat proper studios soon. I should be closing on a house in the next couple of months.
Congratulations,
buddy. Cheers, mate. So it's been a turbulent week, I would say, for myself. But,
it has been, definitely.
Still a little bit bashed and bruised, still without a car, so transportation's been, up in the air. Luckily, my ex-wife, I can say this, my ex-wife has been kind enough to lend me her lease. She did buy a car this weekend, and
Congratulations to your ex-wife.
Yeah,
that's nice for you.
She's good.
Nice.
I still like her.
Cool.
In a way, but yeah, it is kind of weird looking at each other doing a podcast. I kind of like it somewhat. Studios, they look at each other or side by side,
This is too intense, though. I gotta, sit back. We're, leaning in over this mic and just staring at each other.
We've got...
This is the most intimate podcast yet.
But, yeah, going back to Chelsea, one more win, 3 points away from the title. Tottenham, a good win over Arsenal. Is this the pass the baton on in North London right now?
Yeah, I think so. I think, like I've said many times, we've talked about before, Tottenham's future is so bright right now, and Arsenal's is so up in the air. I mean, this week alone, Arsene Wenger is saying he doesn't even know what a director of football is, and Arsenal say that if he wants to remain manager, he has to be willing to give up some power. So it's just no one knows what the future at Arsenal is, and Tottenham's future is
it's up in the air.
Promising.
It is promising on the pitch, but off the pitch with Tottenham, they are transitioning from White Hart Lane to the new stadium via Wembley Stadium. There was talk of demolishing part of White Hart Lane and still playing at White Hart Lane. I know Pochettino doesn't want to move from White Hart Lane, but at the end of the day, it's not his choice. It's a business. It's a business choice. So, I mean, the stadium's getting built no matter what. But yeah, next year, and we all kind of know Tottenham's record at Wembley Stadium isn't great in the Champions League. So it's going to be interesting to see how Tottenham do in terms of their home form next year. Their away form has been one of the best in the league, and they've ground out results, unlike Tottenham have done in previous years. But
interesting fact, actually, I think our listeners will appreciate this, being a mostly American audience. The NFL is actually funding, I think it's like $10 million of the stadium's cost, which means that the NFL is probably going to
be NFL games.
Because that's what the talk was, that Spurs Stadium would be the home of whatever NFL
London
team.
Sissy Nannies.
Yeah. Was that from Family Guy?
Yeah.
The Sissy Nannies?
Yeah, when Peter goes to play, where he gets traded from the Patriots to the Sissy Nannies.
Does he have a masterclass for the Sissy Nannies and they beat the Patriots?
Well, the Sissy Nannies just get scared and just run away. They wear the old school helmets, the ones... the padded ones.
How do you think the NFL would do in England?
That'd be a success.
Is it a novelty or is it?
It's a trend, and you know how much people love trends, and every game in Wembley Stadium it's a sellout, even if it's.
Is that because it's a novelty or it's a one-off event, or do you think a team would? Yeah, but
even so, how many games at Wembley Stadium now? I think there's 3 or 4 a year.
But it's still so. It's not a common thing. It's not like it's a guaranteed football every week in.
But say you put a Premier League team in America. Say you put a Tottenham Hotspur in America at New York, sell out every week.
Every week,
sell out.
Yeah, if they're playing the Premier League, we sell out every week.
Yeah. So yeah, coming onto our shores, the MLS is still going on.
Well, real quick, you didn't mention the other Champions League.
Fucking great transition.
It was, but you didn't mention Juventus. 2-1 over Monaco in the second leg this week, so that would be in the final for the second time in 3 years.
I thought Monaco could possibly cause an upset, but after the first leg, it was pretty much over.
Yeah.
Buffon, just a rock at the back. Juventus really know how to stifle the opponent. And although Mbappe was active and he did score a goal in that second leg, Monaco didn't look like they were in the tie at any point in those 2 legs.
Yeah, definitely.
And I
outclassed, despite how good they are, they were definitely.
Who do you think are favourites? I mean, if Juventus can stifle players like Mbappe, they can definitely do that against Ronaldo. I
don't think so.
You really
I
don't?
think it's gonna be 2-0 Real Madrid. I said Real Madrid win the Champions League before, after last season. I said they'd win again this year, and their squad is just unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, they did beat Tony Adams and Granada at the weekend 4-0. And
Tony players making fun of him? Isco said he looked like a waiter and ordered the Coca-Cola from the bench. Yelled at him.
Good old Tony Adams.
How drunk was Tony Adams, you think?
Oh, we did watch the Paul Gascoigne documentary on YouTube last week.
Right before the car accident.
Yeah, right before the car accident. Jesus Christ. Luckily, didn't have a drop of alcohol, unlike Paul Gascoigne. But yeah, if anyone's interested, England legend in the late 80s, early 90s, Paul Gascoigne, Tottenham Hotspur legend, England legend at the 1990 World Cup. Go on YouTube, type in Paul Gascoigne documentary. Definitely worth
it was great.
Definitely worth a watch. You know, and it bring a lot of nostalgia to me as a young lad growing up in England. And it there's some happy moments in the documentary. There's definitely some down moments, but it was a mix and it was well balanced, I thought. And Gary Lineker, the
narrator, right?
Well, he was some part. No, he was just like a guest on it. But the guy who shit his pants in 1990 World Cup. But coming back to these shores. I was going to say our shores, your shores,
my shores,
your shores. The MLS is still going on.
It is.
We're not going to do an MLS segment. We'll do that on Saturday. I went down to the NYCFC game with my kid, Jack. Favorite player now is Jack Harrison. I think New York City put in the best 90 minutes of the season. Andrea Pirlo was dropped to the bench. They looked like they had a more of attacking threat going forward. What I kind of don't like is how Vieira just sets up his team. He's very stubborn. Jack Harrison's on the right. He's not moving anywhere else.
The lineup has been pretty much the same. The only real change has been whether it's been Rodney Wallace or Tommy McNamara on the left.
Yeah.
That's the only real change. But then like you said, Pirlo was benched and. I was talking to you last night. We were working together, and I was saying just when New York City FC is on their day, they probably play the best footy in the league, and they're definitely a good squad. Currently third in the East,
third in the
East. Toronto on top of the East after
2-1 victory.
A late comeback. They were down 1-0, I think like the 82nd, and Toussaint Ricketts, the Bati boy Jamaican, scored a late brace
against Columbus Crew.
Big road win over a decent Columbus team.
But Orlando, Miles Joseph on Orlando, 2 losses in the last 2. But we'll go into more detail on Saturday. But the MLS is in full swing now. It's starting to warm up, I guess, around the country. I mean, we've had some cold days recently, but
Minnesota's warmed up a little bit. They've won a few games now. Yeah, Minnesota United, the Loons. Might not be as bad as we thought.
Have they got any DP players yet?
No, still no DP player.
Don't need it.
That summer transfer window is coming fast, though.
But I mean, the Premier League is wrapping up. There's only a few more weeks of that. Obviously, the FA Cup final coming up, the Europa League final, Europa Cup final coming up. Manchester United in action later on today, holding on to a 1-0 aggregate lead against Celta Vigo. At Old Trafford, should be comfortable going through that one. As we talked earlier in this podcast, it looks like we know Mourinho's solely focusing on this. Rooney wants to focus on the trophy itself rather than the qualification. But I've talked to fans this week about owners and investors not really giving a shit about a piece of silverware. It's really not that, and It's about the player now. It's about the marketability of the player. But honestly, watching that Juventus game yesterday, the fans, the faces of the fans, the manager and the players just really caring, and that was footy coming home. And regardless of Paul Pogba et al., at the end of the day, this is why we love football and why we drive down to the Bronx every other weekend to watch the lads. But as we said, this is a touch-based podcast. We are alive and well, but we'll have Mike back on Saturday, and
we're back 100% weekly content every week.
Got it.
No more 2-week breaks. We're done messing around. No more car crashes. No more trips to Portugal.
All right. Well, I'm going to England. Probably won't be able to do it I know I won't be able to do it that weekend. It's in June, but the Gold Cup's coming up this summer. USA in action in 2 qualifiers.
U20 World Cup starts in a week and a half or so. USA's first game is the 22nd, I think, against. Ecuador.
It's in India, right?
India, yes.
India. Unfortunately,
no. The U17 World Cup is in India, which the USA did not qualify for after a missed penalty against Mexico.
Yeah, penalty shootout after a 1-1 draw. But
just Pulisic missed a penalty in the same exact game, like however many years ago when he was playing for the under-17s against Mexico in
Living
the
you learn.
final. Yeah,
Living you learn.
You know, I don't know who missed it. I think it was some scrub defender.
Yeah.
Is it bad for me to call like a 16-year-old kid a scrub? Nah.
Nah, it's all right.
He's scrub.
They'll learn.
Yeah.
You know, I was called worse things when I was 16 years old. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. We shall be back on Saturday. And again, we apologize for the missed weeks, but we're back. We're in full swing, and we're looking forward to the future episodes.
We are.
All right, take it easy. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Chance.
Bye.
The good stuff. Who's